Equalization 4, 5, and 6. So if we start here in Equalization 4, we're going to see that we're working on backing vocals, and we really start into it about 50 seconds or so. Okay, and you can see that I'm following the same process as I did with EQ, with compression, as what I'm doing here with EQ on the background vocals, which is using different EQs on the different tracks to help me differentiate between the two. Okay, you'll notice that we use the EQ7, EQ3 7 band, and now we're using the Renaissance EQ here. And as we go along, we use the 7 band again here. Okay. So we work on that for quite a while, and then towards the end of this video, we're working on the lead vocals. So we're doing some EQ to this distorted vocal track. Okay, and the purpose really here is to kind of get that presence in the lead vocals. So you'll notice that I'm kind of consistent here with 2 kilohertz across my lead vocals. It's kind of that's the presence of the vocal in the song. Okay, so we'll move on to Equalization 5. Okay, now in Equalization 5 we start working on the low strings, about 1:20. Work on some of the other vocals first, and then here's the strings. Okay, and with the strings, the issue we have here with them is that we've got a lot of bass happening. It's nice to have a lot of bass happening, but we've got to make it all play together nicely. It's like having a bunch of big guys on a football team. It works really well having a lot of strength and power, but if they fight each other, then it kind of destroys the whole effort. And so that's kind of the perspective here with our low strings. We want them to highlight the low end of the song and create some more of that foundation there. But we can't have them fight with the bass guitar and such, and the kick drum. So that's what we're doing here, is kind of adjusting those to fit better with that. Okay, then if we jump ahead to 345, we work on the synth during the bridge. So most of these purple tracks right here are synths that are in the beginning and the end, the intro and the outro. But this synth is actually found in the bridge as well as the intro. Okay, and so we're doing some EQ there to get this to kind of pop out during the bridge. And you'll notice that a lot of these, I didn't put any dynamics processing on it. A lot of synths, especially these pads and stuff, they don't really need much dynamics processing depending on how they were played. So you can hear that ringing in the background there. Okay, so let's move on to Equalization 6. Okay, so since we were working on that synth during the bridge, in Equalization 6 we start working on the EQ of these other synths that are in the beginning and the end of the song. And a lot of these, like a flute thing here, we don't really need the low end of that flute. We've got plenty of other instruments that are providing a lot of the low end, and that one's going to kind of muddy things up. So we kind of take out some of that low end, and you can see that we work on some of these other synths. And a lot of these I'm kind of soloing them and kind of taking the perspective of making them sound a little better, while at the same time I know that I'm going to have to pull out some low end to make them fit a little better, or boost them up at certain parts to make them more apparent. But then we'll listen to them all together and kind of make sure everything's fitting, of course. Okay, if we jump to 320, we start working on the bass in the intro. And so just as before, we worked on the compression of the bass to make it rounder and less of an attack. And we're going to use our EQ to accomplish the same thing. So what we're doing here is taking away a lot of the high end where a lot of that attack is coming out, and so that's going to help us to make it sound like this sort of low mean growl that's just kind of happening in the background, which is kind of what we want in that intro and that outro. Okay, and then finally, after we work on the bass for a while, we go and work on the ride cymbal. So we're going to use this Pultec EQ, which is just amazing for high frequencies, just a sweet high end. And so if ever I'm going to really boost the high end of something, I really am going to use this a lot, especially on cymbals and stuff. It really makes cymbals sound good, and so that's what I'm using. And then we go ahead and listen to it, of course, with all the mix together, and make sure that the right cymbal mic is working, and I got the high end all working there. And that's our equalization 4, 5, and 6.